Welcome to the Special Finance Committee, March 21st. Board members, Mark Roberts, Chuck Hayes, all present. Let us stand for the pledge. Huh? Do it backwards. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This, right?
That's the agenda. You were reading the minutes.
Yeah, no, I know, but I just changed it up a little bit.
You went back in time.
Can't have any changes here. Is there any changes to the agenda, speaking of changes? If not, move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda is approved. Minutes, did you have any questions on the minutes? Approve the minutes?
Second.
Public comment?
We do have 2 members of the public, one in person and one on Zoom.
Oh, okay, so we have, is there any public comment on, I didn't think Debbie had any questions about it.
Peter Barnes, do you have a public comment?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the public comment. Again, we approved the minutes, so we will move then quickly to item 4, which is a review of disbursements. Lori, I assume.
Yeah, it did. These are the March disbursements. I don't know if you had any questions on anything in here.
No, is there anything important to see besides costs?
It's the standard stuff.
I had one question at the bottom of page 7. For Unisite, it says porta potties for COVID site. Are we still paying for those?
So I think we just need to update the description on those. I was talking with finance about that today. We do maintain a porta potty midway in the district at a remote site for staff.
But it's not a COVID.
Field staff, and it's
Okay.
not necessarily COVID. I don't think we have any COVID porta potties left, but I'm checking with Sean right now.
All right, thank you.
Where is that site?
I can find out for you,
Oh, you're not. It's at a remote spot.
just in case you need to use it.
Well,
You're out in the middle of nowhere.
I was going to say, if it's somewhere near our fill station, maybe we can put something in it on that property.
No, that's not that far from the district office. I think it's a little farther that way.
Toward the east?
Yeah. I'll find out.
Okay. That's full circle. I wanted to put a little yard on the Johnson property there, that little piece of property, but nobody wanted to do it. Is that it?
That's it for me.
Okay. Then we would move to review of financials.
Okay. So first of all, the item on page 22, you can disregard that. That was not on the agenda. It ended up in here, an error. So beginning on page 23. This will be a lot of what we kind of talked about in the budget workshop, as far as kind of where we're at with everything and the impacts to our financials. The total revenue is for water enterprise, for the enterprise, is short by $962. It's short from what we had budgeted. The expenses are over by $259,929,000. The shortage in the water is due to the closing of some of the farming activities in the district.
The forced closures?
The forced closures of some of the farming activities in the district. So that impacted our consumption levels. That on top of the fact that we've had a very wet winter, that impacts the consumption, water consumption as well. And then under expenses, of course, we talked about the fact that there was increases over the past 4 years between 60 and 75% to some of our significant costs of doing business. And so you can see that that's impacting our expenditures. The other revenue is increased primarily because of interest. It's over budget by $370,000, which is helpful. And then as far as, well, let me finish with enterprise first. So on the next page in the enterprise column still, if you know, the Chromium 6 expense reimbursement, that is, shows 0, but we've actually expended that, but that's a journal entry that'll be done. And that fair market value thing is not really money that we've received. So those two things coming out changes the bottom line from $1.023 million to where did I put my, to $238,000 in net income, and then after which doesn't leave enough money to pay for our.
It says 282, is that right?
282 is the difference, the variable. The center amount of $1.023 million is the net income to date. But when you subtract out the costs for Chromium 6 of $624,000, and then you subtract out the $160,000, that gets it down to 238,574, and which is the amount that's there to cover the principal payments, which clearly isn't enough. And we talked about this in the budget workshop.
Yes.
And the board determined in the last meeting to transfer funds from government funds to help cover for this year. So
In the total of,
the amount that
What
we're
was it?
transferring
Yeah.
is a total of 700,000. Part of it will be now, part of it will be at year end. So, and then for government funds, if we get back to page 23 and go down the columns there, we're in good shape. We're under, we haven't quite received all of our money for it shows $18,000 that we're behind on budget to actual right now, and that's just because we haven't received a check yet from one of our checks from the solid waste. And then the expenditures is in good shape. Some of the expenses haven't been expended yet for year end, so that'll end up being about right when all is said and done. And for property tax revenue, we're at about 70%, the amount that we received. I'll be reviewing that in a minute, but typically at this time of year, we're a little more than halfway compared to what we've estimated, because we get a big chunk of the money in December and then the rest of it in April, and this is only up through March. So it's a little bit, even though it shows it's over budget right now, year to date, it's not exactly where it should be, but, and the meters, oh, never mind. The other income is that's the interest that we're earning, that we
the
didn't.
147? No, the 485.
Yes, the 485.
The difference is the 338.
Yeah, we're over budget by 338 there. So that's really helpful. And it's nice that we have our reserves that we can invest. And, as we draw those down, that makes it harder to do that. But so the total revenue for government funds is $1.5 million. up through operationals. And then we come down to the expenses for non-operational on the next page. And we're in good shape there too. That just has that fair market value in there for the non-operational item for parks. And that's a book item. And then bottom line on that is we're at $1.3 million for net income on that. So that's helpful. Then let's see, in the balance sheet, beginning on page 25. This is consolidated, so this includes all of our funds. And you can see starting down under fixed assets, you can see like we purchased that land for $25,000.
Where are you? I just was looking at the last of the, I'm sorry. I'm going to
On
start
page
over here
20
on page 25.
Yes, and all the, the cash assets and stuff, that's all the funds, not just water, that's all the funds.
Uh-huh.
And then you come down to fixed assets, and you could see that there's $25,000 that you could see we've purchased that land. The changes in this area kind of tell you where we've spent some money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I that's this land up here, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then on the next page, you can see that we purchased some, computer equipment, and then the trucks, we've spent some money on trucks this year. And
One truck, right?
I thought we bought, I guess it was one truck, wasn't it, David, that we purchased this year?
60,000, I think, is one truck.
Yeah, I think you're right, it is one truck now. I'm so used to seeing less.
No,
money
we
on
haven't
that, but
purchased the solid waste truck yet. This was,
It's really gone up, yeah.
this was for enterprise.
Yeah, and then, yeah. So, and then we have depreciation, of course, and moving on to page 27, you can see under the liabilities, number 29, long-term liabilities, that's where you can see our interest payment, our principal payments for the loans. The interest is in the operating costs, operating revenue expense that we just reviewed, and the principal is here. And you can also see the $6 million loan that we have for the, or lease, I should say, for the Civic Center site. And then, that's pretty
in the
much
middle of
it.
the page, right?
Yes. And that's about $618,000 to date, year to date, that we've spent, that we've paid for our principal on the loans, so. Did you have any questions on the balance sheet?
So our total current loans are 16.57?
Total current outstanding loans?
Yeah. Is that total liability?
Yes, that's the total balance on the loans.
16.5?
Yeah, and that doesn't include our in-house loans that we have to ourselves.
No,
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
that's real loans,
Yes.
not paper loans. Caltrans is that's at zero interest, right?
Yeah, well, practically.
1%?
So, yeah, it's really, really
So
low
that should
interest.
be gone this coming year?
Yes, this is our last year on that one.
Okay. Okay, so 31, is there anything in there that's the designated reserves?
Yep, those are the designated reserves, which is the center column is where we're at right now.
11.7.
Yes.
And then our unrestricted, most of that is now in interest-bearing accounts,
All the reserve funds are in interest-bearing accounts,
the reserve funds.
or all the available. It's a pooled cash like kind of thing, so whatever's.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just we have stuff on shorter term investments so that we can use it for, day-to-day operations and stuff like that, so.
Any questions?
On page 28, we have the revenue and expense again consolidated, but this time it shows it consolidated it shows the enterprise and the government fund together. And then this shows a percentage to date, which is kind of an interesting look. So, as we talked about, the revenue is down. It's at 67%. We should be at 75% for the year. And total revenue is at 67.57%, so it's down from where it should be. And total expenditures are slightly down, but it should be 75, and it's at 73. The non-operational revenue is at 70%, and that's mostly that's the property tax revenue, and that's what I was talking about earlier, where we have we get percentage of it in December and then the rest of it in April, and
So we're at 71% on that. In prior years, we would normally be at 84%.
84.
The next line down.
Says prior years.
Oh, the prior year. I'm sorry. The prior year is from taxes that were uncollected from prior years. People
Oh,
don't pay
okay,
their-
it's not, okay.
Yeah.
So we don't get a 50% chunk of property taxes and then another 50, it comes in.
Yeah, because some people like to pay their taxes in December because then they can write it off.
A larger portion. For-
Yeah, so we tend to get a little bit larger portion in December than we do in April. I'd say it's about 60-40, don't you think, David, normally? Like 60% in December and 40 in April-ish?
Yeah, there's also kind of a chunk that comes in February, March as well.
Yeah, some little bits, but,
10% of it losses.
So whenever
People-
the county gets it, then they do their accounting and then disperse it, basically?
It's a pretty regular pattern, but yes.
yeah, they have disbursement dates that they disperse the money.
Right, okay. Well, I remember when that property tax dropped to like $500,000.
The first year that we were here, it dropped from,
It plummeted from
$1 million
2007 to 2008.
yeah, the first year,
and
it went
we
from
had
$1 million.
no money.
Yeah, it was, well, and that kind of just, they always say not to rely on your property taxes too much because that's just an example of what could happen. But,
Yeah,
so
but
we
when it's,
have a risk factor in there.
when it's always coming in like that, it's kind of hard to not
It is, it absolutely is because
lean on it a little.
yeah, definitely. So, and then the meter installation is less than what we thought for people, aren't building right now like they were. That's gone down.
Yeah, didn't we calculate that into the next budget, that
We
it would be
did.
reduced quite a bit?
Yes, we did. We assumed it would be reduced for sure. And so in total on page 29, it's, the bottom line is it's a little, it's not really what it is because of the Chromium 6, which is $600,000, and the book entries, like the market value entry, that adjustment that we have to make, so.
The numbers are a little misleading.
Yes, they
Is
are.
that what you're suggesting?
Yes, they
The
are.
Chromium 6 is just paying back for money that we've already put out.
Yes, exactly,
So-
exactly.
So we're just getting it back.
And we budget it as an expense, even though it's, it's money that we're putting out as we speak on well 16.
Right.
or 15.
15, yeah.
So, and that project we'll be talking about with the board soon.
So it's gonna take 2 years to collect the money for that well, 2.5 years.
Yeah, we collect about well, annually, we collect about 800 to 900,000 a year through the surcharges.
Okay. Oh, well, 2 years.
Yeah.
But hopefully that will do it. We shouldn't have too many more expenses after that well is put in
Well,
for
we do.
chromium-6 mitigation.
We have the tank that we're talking about doing, of which part of that will
That'll
be,
fall under the chromium-6?
well, part of it's going to be, we're getting a grant for. Kim just got news about that today.
Yeah, it was selected to go to approach, so that's,
Pretty good indication, right?
if something really bad happens, we should get the 2 million.
Oh,
So that means, that brings that down to 700,000, which is really
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And we're going to be going, when we come back to the board in the next few weeks, we're going to be bringing the CIP schedule back to the board, to the 10-year plan. And we're also bringing back to the board the chromium-6, because we're working off of what was approved in September 2000, whatever it was, a couple
long
of years
time
ago.
ago.
Yeah, and things have kind of evolved a little bit, and so there's been a few things that we'd like to change. We haven't moved forward with yet, but we need to get the board's consent to do that, or the board's approval to do that. So instead of doing one thing, they're going to do something else. So it's not like we're asking for more money. It's a matter of changing what the sites were.
no, I mean, it was originally 17 million plus.
Right.
And now it's gonna be, I don't know, 4 or 5 maybe.
Yeah, but in
11.
like 10 years ago, money.
The 17 was, yeah, in 2016, 17.
Yeah, we've already-
That was the estimate, not counting the yearly cost to get rid of the waste. That was not built into that.
Right.
It was the 17 million plus an annual cost to haul waste to Arizona, I assume, so.
Yeah, and the maintenance on the facilities too.
Yeah,
It was scheduled to go up.
O&E.
Yeah, it was scheduled to go from 975 up, or 71 up to 12 something after the facilities were completed. And we're not going to have to do that, so that's awesome.
It was an incredible amount of money. It was, well, we said we can't afford it. I mean, it was ridiculous.
And as of right now, we have already spent over almost $6 million. And then we still have more to spend. It's going to end up coming in right around, well, depending on what the board decides, probably closer to 10 or 11 million, which is a huge savings over what we were looking at. So, all right, are there
Okay, so
any-
our bottom line, our net income,
yeah, it's what we were talked about before, not this.
it's a mirage.
Yes, it's a mirage. Because
Is that
this
what
is
you're trying
not,
to say?
our cash situation. The cash is different. And it's misleading, I think, to people when you're going over these. They feel like it ties in, and it does tie in with money to a degree, but, there's other costs that are not included in that particular document.
Right.
So. And next we have the statement of cash flows.
Statement of cash flows, page 30.
Yes. And this is separated by fund. So the first one is the water fund.
Cash flow, water fund.
It's showing the money coming in from revenues and such, and then going out to various things and what we have obligations to. And if we were to,
Is that revenue expenses to date
yes,
through, this is
January-
April now,
March.
so through March or
March,
something?
yeah, March 31st.
Okay. that only $955,000 doesn't leave us too much for putting in a well.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, and then, cash flows from investing funds, that's,
Money
our
money that
investing
we've,
activities, that's not
that's where we've invested in equipment and trucks. and-
CIPs and trucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the net cash was 1.6, but the cost of doing business was 1.7.
Yeah, if you want to consider, I mean, because right now, it considers the accounts receivable, what's in accounts receivable, it considers the, delinquent accounts, it considers all these other things that are a little bit, it's a little bit misleading as far as getting down to an actual cash, tying in with the cash in bank kind of thing. I mean, it does, but it's kind of weird. And then we have
Are you talking accountees talk here?
I'm trying not to. And then down at the bottom, we have, it
Kind of
shows,
is, but it isn't.
it shows down at the bottom, it shows the principal payments that we were talking about as well,
Yeah, the loans.
year to date, yeah.
So year to date, the net cash is a negative .73
Yeah.
million. So we're red.
Yes, sir, that is the case. And then we have the government general fund, which is really mostly the property rentals that we do. That's what this is, really.
That's the cash flow from the property leases and things like that.
Yeah. Because it's not parks, it's not water, it's
It's just government.
government, yeah. And then the next one page is the parks.
Parks and Rec.
Yes. And then at year end, what we do is we take the money that, we track the property tax revenue in another one of these funds, and at the year end, we transfer the money from there over to parks to pay for the parks, because that's where the money to pay for parks comes from, and then also for the street lighting as well.
It comes from the government funds, right?
It comes from the property tax.
Yeah. Well,
In
that's
the government
in
funds.
the government
Yes,
funds,
yes, exactly. And then the next one's street lighting.
Street lighting, that's a big one.
Yeah, big one.
It's one of our more dynamic,
And then the property tax is the next one, so it shows the money sitting there until we make
till it's dispersed.
the transfer, yeah. So, to cover the costs.
Solid waste,
And solid waste is the franchise fees, of course, that we get for solid waste.
okay, and what went in, how much, doesn't have it, so at the end of our fiscal year, a certain amount of that goes into parks
Yes. That's how it's set up right now.
at the end of the fiscal year.
Yes, if there's whatever might be left over after the project, so, and all the expenses
Minus
are.
what's put into reserves for different things.
Yes, it has a
Okay.
reserve.
So currently, it's 255,000, and then take out of that expenses, and then the reserves that are set aside, and what's left will go into the parks.
To parks, yes.
Okay.
And that's all per the revenues policy that the district has. This is what we put
Yeah,
into
that was
the,
part of the original deal to do the solid waste, was that as much of the profit as we could would go into the parks.
to help
since-
fund the parks, because
since
there's
no funding for parks.
right. And then we put that into the policy to formalize it a couple years ago to solidify that. And then the next page is 36, and this is the aging for our water. And it's about normal for this time of year.
Okay, any questions? Okay.
And the next page is open payables. As of the end of March, we didn't have any. Blank page. 2 blank pages, apparently.
Two blank pages.
I didn't catch that before I went on the book. And then the last, page 40 is the project balance report, and this shows kind of where we're at on some of our projects and stuff. So you can see, kind of look at that and see where we're at on some of our ongoing projects.
So we have, the administrative property is over here, this property right here, correct?
Yes.
And then we have the mountain well, that should be done, isn't it? That, it's not still being worked on, is it?
Yeah, we close these out and move them over into the assets at certain times. We
Okay.
don't do it all every month. We do
Oh,
it
okay.
periodically, mostly at the end of the year. And then we start, because when that happens, we start depreciating it, so. And then you can see the well 15's on there.
Meters and the well 15.
Yeah. And the meters, what we're doing is we're putting it in the job, and then at the end of the year, whatever is completed as of that point is getting transferred over, so that we start, so it doesn't go on for 4 years as an open project.
Right.
We're closing it out each year,
It should be finished
next year,
this next fiscal year.
yes.
Yeah,
Thank goodness.
yeah.
That'll be wonderful in a lot of ways.
Well, it's a drain, actually.
Yeah.
That's the second time we've done that.
A meter change out? Well, it's been 15 years, so it kind of would stand to reason.
Yeah, the old ones were in there for like 30 years.
Yep, they were.
And the county didn't know what was going on, but
Right.
they were in there 30 years, so just, they
Well-
weren't reading, but
That is true, but they typically don't last that long.
well, the newer and fancier it is, the,
Actually,
Shorter.
I think these actual meters are gonna last a lot longer than
I don't know, they're
the
plastic.
ones. The
I'm sorry, the old brass
Uh,
last forever.
Yeah, that's
If they
true.
could have changed the parts, some of the parts out once in a while, they would still be in there. But they're plastic now, so.
yeah, they used to do that. They used to change out the chamber and
Right,
be good to go.
yeah. And if they'd have done that, anyways.
Saves quite a bit on meter reading.
Well, actually, those were not,
Those had to
radio
be read
reads.
individually.
The old ones,
And we
new
had
ones.
two trucks, full-time, and they could only read half of them per month. So
yeah.
we had 2-month billing.
Yep. We saved a lot of manpower by
It was
switching over.
labor intensive.
Are there any questions on the project balance report?
No, I just wish that we would stop spending money on outside services and start actually building. So,
Um, So, this takes us to page 43, which is the solar report, but they're reversed on the agenda. So do you want to do it in the order of the agenda, or do you want to do it in the order of the packets, the numbers?
solar projects, credits and expenses, that
We'll just do those.
item 7?
Yeah, yeah. And then we'll swap those two.
Okay.
Unless you want to do the other one first, that's fine. The cash investment report.
Yeah, I'd rather do
Follow the,
yeah, item
Okay.
6.
let's do that then. Page 45 is the cash investment report. And you can see where all of our money is located. And we've been able to invest, David's been doing a lot of really great investments for us, and he's found some pretty good, we've laddered it out, and
You've laddered it
yeah,
very
so
well that way.
money is available when we need it, and
And that's the way to do it, because when it comes due, you can either reinvest if you need it, it's there, or you can reinvest it.
it's been great. We've gotten,
Wow. I mean, we were under about
under 1%.
point
Yeah.
0.7 or something like that. I don't know
Yeah,
what
and for a
it
long
was.
time, this kind of investments weren't viable, and now
No.
they are, and it's great. We've been able to really take advantage of it. And it's really been helpful, as you can see in the financial statements.
Two-year. Oh, you got a one-year CD for 4.8%.
Flagstar's really presented us with some good opportunities.
Is that that's the group that we met with down in Palm Springs, right? That we,
No, actually, California Class is the group.
California
And they
class.
presented us with some good investment opportunities as well.
In California class, we don't tie up the money for a time period, we can take it in and out when we need it.
Yes. Yes, they have different options, but the one we're in is, David, go ahead.
Yeah, that money works like a savings account next day, and they're investing it in an average of like 2 to 3 months. So, but they're giving it to us right away, and this was their 30-day rate is closer to 5 right now. So yeah, we have, what is it? Oh, we have a total of $12 million sitting in there, because $6 million of that is the funds we're keeping readily available for the Civic Center project. Yes, so I didn't want to tie that up for a long period.
Yeah, and that has to be, that can't be at 4.77%. It has to be less than what we're paying.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's going to be tricky.
Theoretically,
Hey, can you not pay me so much?
Yeah, there's an arbitrage thing.
yeah. Yeah, that's very good. Any comments from the public on that? That's just income from savings.
And ideally, this is how it used to work. You'd have this money that you could, from investments that you could use for loans and things like that. And then the bottom dropped out, and it really changed the dynamic of it. But now it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it was a lost decade with no interest.
Yes, absolutely.
That looks good. Okay, any other questions? So now we will move to solar.
And this is just a report of where we're at with the collections that we've had for solar credits versus what we spend on solar credits, or what we spend on a loan, and where we're at with it.
Cost to date, $3,487,000. And total credits to date, $3,879,000. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, where are you seeing that?
Total cost to date is $3.4 million.
Which page are you on?
43.
Okay.
Oh, you were looking at the chart. That's too small, I can't see it.
This one's easier to read.
The solar project credits and report, page 43.
Yes, thank you.
So the total cost to date's $3.4 million,
Yes,
and the total credits to date, $3.8 million.
yes.
Wow. We're actually in the black.
Yeah, at least we're ready.
We are. We are indeed.
That was going to be a great project, and then it wasn't. It is till it isn't, right?
Yes.
But, I mean, at
Didn't quite
least,
turn out the way we
at least
expected.
we're not
Or we-
negative.
Yes, exactly.
Keeps raising rates, it will be a great project.
Actually,
I know, that's the
it
problem.
depends on whether they cut the credits or not. See, they can raise the rates and cut the credits. That doesn't help us. So at least for now, we're positive in that,
Yes.
slightly.
And then, we're on item number 8.
Committee comments. Do you have any comments or questions?
No comments. Thank you for the report.
Yes, thank you very much. Action items, did we have anything from the previous meeting?
I think we did, but that was what went to.
Yeah, those went to the board. So we had a presentation on cost increases that went to the
Okay,
board.
right, the cost
Budget policy
increases.
went to the board. And then I can take care of the action items from today's meeting right now because Sean texted me back. So the porta potty is located at Site 1C, which is Wilson Ranch and Duncan.
That's the C lane, 1C.
Yeah.
That's all the way over on the east end.
And then we have a temporary porta potty for the pipeline project.
Ah.
And so we'll just make sure that those financials get renamed. to
Yeah,
not
that would be
COVID.
renamed into the pipeline project costs.
Yeah, so
So that would
we'll get all
fall,
that cleaned
fall
up
under the
moving forward.
Chromium 6.
Before they were for COVID, because we had to have separate toilets for people who were quarantining or whatever. So, because we were essential, so our guys, some of them work so independently that if they tested positive but didn't have symptoms or, had minor symptoms, they could still work, but we had to have a completely separate space for them to wash hands and use the restroom. So the porta potties were very helpful.
Well, based on the federal government, we're now no longer in the pandemic emergency.
That's correct.
And so, assuming that the states follows that guideline, then we would be out of the emergency, so all of that stuff can be shifted or removed.
Yeah, so the emergency's over, so yeah, but we still have the one porta potty, which we kept, just because operationally it turned out to be good to have one at that location. They didn't have to find a restroom or come all the way to the office or park. And so we decided to keep one, and then the other one is for the project.
Okay. Well, that takes care of that. Excellent.
There are no action
So I don't think we have any action items for next time. Any changes to the agenda? Let's see. Disbursements, financials, investment report, solar projects. Do we need to adjust anything there?
For next time,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because we've removed the budget item because
Yeah,
it's going into
budget
its
items are
own
gone.
thing now, yeah.
Okay. So we have number 10, we have a meeting on May 8th.
Yes, and just a reminder, that will be held in the
Will be
district
held
office.
italicized in the
Yes.
district office. And then the next regular meeting would be July 18th.
And that'll be after year end.
And I just want to point out, we did revise the budget process and schedule in a press release, so that's going to go out. It just states that we're eliminating the special meeting that was tentative
Uh-huh.
in May, the special board meeting, and that we're going to be having the budget hearing on May 10th.
Special finance, May 8th, budget hearing, May 10th. Okay. Very good. With that, is there any other questions or comments? Anybody online have any questions or comments? Mr. Barnes, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. With that, if there's nothing further in front of the committee, we will adjourn at 16:47 or 4:47 for non-military. Thank you, everybody.